Here's what bands never tell you about traveling overseas to play music. I just got back to New York City from Spain from playing one of the most iconic and biggest reggae festivals in Europe, and to be able to go with our band, which is a reggae metal band, over to play this iconic reggae fest was such an insane experience.
Your fucking mind, Spain.
You know, ever since I was 9 when I started playing music to forming my first bands when I was a teenager, I've always dreamed about playing music all over the world. You know, I love traveling. I've always wanted to meet new people from all different states, all different countries. You know, being able to take the band right now to Europe at this stage of our career has just been such an incredible opportunity, and just so thankful I was able to do that. First thing I had to take care of though is I had a full bottle of wine explode in my suitcase. So when I landed over here in New York City yesterday, you could literally smell it on my suitcase as soon as I picked it up from baggage claim, and my whole apartment reeks now. Had to get all that laundry in the washing machine this morning, so hopefully we can salvage some of those clothes. But that was a crazy experience. I never had that happen before, and that was wrapped up pretty good. Cool thing is, when you get to do these fly dates, you can kind of plan around if you want to make a little trip out of it. So I have a couple travel buddies in the band, my tour manager and my bass player. We decided to go out a few days early. We flew into Barcelona, got to experience the nightlife, the food, the culture there, and then we got a car and we drove down the coast towards Valencia, where the festival was, and we stayed in this old castle town. This castle was built in the 1300s. We actually stayed within the castle walls in this old building that had no AC, no Wi-Fi. What a cool experience. So we really got to make the most out of the trip before we even played music. Traveling overseas with gear as a touring musician really isn't that bad. I mean, there's really just a couple things. My suggestion is, strip down your gear as much as possible. We use all digital, laptop, Ableton. We use Kempers for our guitars. We use Enkis that we put both of our guitars in. So it's like an underweight travel case where you can fit 2 guitars in. And then especially if you're a touring musician, you get something called a media pass, where you can get a bunch of overweight checked bags for sometimes free when the airline hooks it up, or for only like a couple $100s. Otherwise, you could end up spending thousands of dollars for your checked bags, but you can avoid a lot of that if you have a media pass. But it's really interesting because in the US, when we're traveling with like 15 cases of gear, I feel like everyone's always stopping you, like, oh, what band are you in, etc. And in Spain, I feel like no one could care. I think they were just staring at us because we were Americans. I mean, for the most part, like, no one seemed to really care that we were traveling with all this gear through the airport in Spain. One of the things you have to think about when traveling overseas is power. I mean, obviously they have different types of plugs, so you need converters for your gear. Sometimes the venues or festivals will provide them. Luckily we had them, and we had enough of them because most of our set, again, is digital. And then on top of that, making sure your voltage is correct and all that stuff, so you're not blowing amps or gear and you don't have any issues with that. And that's definitely something you need to think about. Wireless gear and all the electronics that you're plugging in when traveling overseas. Definitely something to keep in mind when traveling overseas with your gear and electronics. And the venue and festival we played, Rototom, the staff was incredible and made sure we were all set up for success with everything we needed, from power, voltage, all that kind of stuff.